Welcome to Racecraft Explained. Today, we're getting into something absolutely wild. We are breaking down the dramatic technical failures and the super intense internal debates surrounding Max Verstappen at the recent British Grand Prix. We've got this fascinating mix of cutting-edge aero, boiling driver frustration, and high-stakes pit wall strategy to unpack. So let's dive right into it.
This is becoming dangerous for myself, and obviously I don't want that. Just let that sit for a second. We really don't often hear a four-time world champion sound that unnerved on the team radio. It perfectly captures that severe breakdown in trust that happens when a Formula One car fails its driver at high speed. When you're pushing the absolute limits of physics out there, trust in your machinery is literally everything. And at Silverstone, for Verstappen, that trust completely evaporated.
So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, the Silverstone spin. Then we'll ask 2 crashes, 1 cause. After that, we'll look at the Macarena wing concept, touch on Verstappen's boiling frustration, and finish up with the Parc Fermé dilemma. All right, starting off with Section 1, the Silverstone spin, a late race disaster at Stowe Corner. It's crazy how quickly a season can completely shift gears. Back at race 6 in Miami, Red Bull brought in this brand new rear wing concept. Fast forward just a bit to race 9 in Austria, and Max suffers a massive crash in Q3. Then, literally a week later, race 10 at Silverstone. Boom, another major crash at Stowe Corner. This isn't just a one-off fluke, right? It's a rapidly escalating engineering mystery. They bring an upgrade, and within just a few weeks, their star drivers ending up in the gravel twice. And man, the heartbreak of that Silverstone crash is just brutal. Picture this. There are only 4 laps remaining. Max had been battling George Russell super hard, entirely on merit, and was sitting pretty in P3. A podium finish was practically in the bag. And then, out of nowhere, the car completely snaps and spins into the high-speed gravel trap at Stowe. A massive haul of points, instantly gone in the blink of an eye.
Which leads us to Section 2. 2 crashes, 1 cause. Looking at Austria versus Silverstone.
Now, here's where things get kind of confusing. After the British Grand Prix, team principal Laurent Mekies came out and said the team completely understood what caused the failure in the Austria Q3 crash. But, and this is a big but, their early data showed the Silverstone failure was structurally different. So we've got 2 terrifying high-speed spins that look exactly the same, but Mekies is claiming they were triggered by completely different failures in the exact same area of the car. Make it make sense, right? Well, here's the shared symptom they were dealing with. In both Austria and Silverstone, the whole issue was that the rear wing straight up failed to reattach at the end of a straight mode zone. When you stomp on the brakes and throw the car into a corner, you are desperately relying on that wing to close and glue the back of the car to the tarmac. When it doesn't fully close, you lose a massive amount of downforce in a split second. It's literally like yanking the handbrake while you're doing 150 miles an hour. It just causes a totally uncontrollable spin. Okay, moving on to Section 3, the Macarena wing concept. Basically, Red Bull's big aerodynamic gamble. Now you're probably asking, why even mess with a winning formula? Well, it all comes down to this Macarena, or upside-down rear wing. And this isn't just some random Red Bull experiment. It's actually an industry-wide trend right now. Ferrari pioneered this whole concept back in preseason testing, and McLaren picked it up recently too. Red Bull saw the aero advantages and slapped their own version on the car starting in Miami. They were chasing performance, right? Adopting an innovation that their fiercest rivals were already using to find those extra tenths of a second. But that chase for performance has created a ton of anxiety in the Red Bull garage. Listen to this quote from Laurent Mekies. "It's too early in the analysis to establish whether it's an issue with the concept or something else." That is a huge admission. They've been racing this wing for 5 rounds, and they genuinely do not know yet if the fundamental upside-down geometry is totally flawed or if it was just a localized manufacturing error. When the team boss admits they're completely in the dark, you know the vibe in that garage is intensely stressful. Let's look at Section 4, Verstappen's boiling frustration, and really, the human element of technical failure. Look, after Max publicly called the car dangerous, management could have easily gotten defensive. Instead, Mekies was super measured and diplomatic. He just came out and said, look, he's right not to be happy. I think that shows a lot of respect. The team absolutely gets that when a driver is putting his life on the line out there, getting furious over back-to-back mechanical failures at high speed is 100% justified.
Mekies actually elaborated on this, outlining the shared pain. Obviously, it's wildly unpleasant for a driver to be let down like that in a high-speed corner, but he made a point to say it's also deeply unpleasant for the engineering and mechanic group, who feel like they literally sent their driver into a gravel trap. The whole team is feeling the weight of this, and that is exactly why they've publicly pledged to leave no stone unturned to make sure it never happens again. Because at the end of the day, safety absolutely has to override the pursuit of aerodynamic perfection.
And finally, Section 5, the Parc Ferme Dilemma, the strategic tug-of-war on the pit wall.
This is a classic F1 chess match between the driver and the pit wall. Max had a super frustrating qualifying and desperately wanted to break Parc Ferme rules. His strategy? Take a fresh power unit, completely overhaul the setup, and fix the car's handling. The catch, of course, is that under the rules, doing so means you forfeit your grid spot and start from the pit lane. The team, on the other hand, wanted the exact opposite. They wanted to hold on to that hard-earned P7 track position, even though the massive downside was forcing Max to wrestle a car with a highly imperfect balance.
So, who won the argument? The team did. Max rolled out from T7, and surprise, surprise, he absolutely hated the handling, reporting the exact same limitations he had on Saturday. But Mekies ultimately defended their strategic calculation. His argument was, yeah, the balance was awful, but Max was running in P3 before the wings snapped. Mekies seriously doubted they could have sliced through the pack to P3 if they had given up track position to start from the pit lane. It's just your textbook Formula One compromise, right? Track position over a perfect setup.
So what does this all mean? We are left with a pretty massive question to consider. Is this Macarena wing a necessary risk? Is copying Ferrari and McLaren's aero concepts required for championship glory? Or has Red Bull bolted on a dangerously flawed component that's shaking their drivers' confidence and could actually cost them the title with these 0-point finishes? It just goes to show, their engineering race is every bit as ruthless as the one on the asphalt. Thanks for watching Racecraft Explained. If you enjoyed today's discussion, please subscribe to our channel, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with your fellow Formula One fans. We'd also love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below. Which topic should we cover next? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.